Hi there, Dr. J, Steve Jensen from the National Sales Academy and Impact Training. So how's your week been? Mine's been terrific, and I actually was at the COM marketing scale presentation about a week ago. And one of the things that came up was books. And isn't it great? Books are just fantastic to be able to learn new things and to actually go on a bit of a journey personally and professionally. We can read a great book, can't we, just when we're going to bed, or just curl up on the couch and read a great book. Someone says, oh, I'm just going to have a lazy day and read a book, or listen to an audiobook, and that's what I like to do. I'm a slow reader, so the audiobooks are terrific. And we have all of our plugins, and no one has to listen to it either. But so many people read books, and they say, I've read this book, especially for business, and I hear it regularly. And they've read this book, and they've read this book, and they've got this arsenal of books they've read. My question to them is, oh, look, that's a terrific book. How many times have you read it? And they usually tell me once, and maybe sometimes twice at best. And statistics will tell you that if you read a book once, you'll get a little bit of an inkling. If you read it twice, you're going to learn a bits and pieces. And do you use the trusted pen to write a few notes, or do you do the unthinkable and mark up your book? Because statistics also will tell you, if you just read a book or listen to a book once, it'll be for entertainment and understanding. But do you actually put the things in the book into practice? It's a good question, isn't it? You've learned a fantastic book on, let's say, the E-Myth about being an entrepreneur, or the E-Myth Revisited, or you go into a leader's book like Leaders Eat Last. Terrific books. But are you actually putting these things into practice? And usually, not always, but usually it's like, oh, I remember reading that, or yeah, I've got to do something about that. But there's no action plan being created from that book or that learning. And when you do a proper training or a workshop and so forth, and if it's a good training, you'll actually go through a whole lot of experiences, don't you? And say, okay, we'll show you how to do it, and you do it, and you write an action plan down, and then you're going to implement it afterwards after you've done utilization. But how often do we sit down with a book, stop and say, read it right through for the entertaining and the understanding value, depending if it's personal development or professional, or maybe just for some entertainment? The entertainment stuff we'll put to one side. But if it's for personal development and you want to use those skill sets to make you having a wonderful life, or having some wealth creation, or whatever it may be, do you stop, write down the strategy, the thing that you need to do, and have a plan of action? Usually not. But something I was told many years ago, it's always better to read a book a minimum of 3 to 4 times. Now, because we have these wonderful things called audiobooks now, and you can get an unabridged version, which is the summary of all the good bits, you can now listen to a book 5 or 6 times. And I get these summaries and I really enjoy them. I haven't got time to listen for a 6-hour book. It would be lovely, but I would like to have the time. But if I'd like to have that knowledge and actually write a strategy down, I'll listen to the book of its entirety with no pen. Then I'll listen to it again with the pen and write some stuff down. And what am I going to do and implement? Then I'll do it again and just reinforce those things. And after we've done that 6 times over that 7-day period of time, and I'll throw another one in for good measure, 7 and 7, guess what? You've got a strategy, you've got an action plan, and then you're going to utilize it. Now, you might not want to do it 7 times. You might say 4 times is plenty. After you start hearing the stuff on a regular basis, you say, oh, I already know that. That's when you know you've learned it. But what are you going to do to implement it? So you're much better off reading one book 300 times than 300 books just to have that entertainment value, if it's for business or personal development. The big mistake is that we sometimes read this book and I'm reading this book, and we just want to devour all these books, listen to all these great books. But my question to you is, What are you implementing? What are you utilizing? What strategies are you writing down and say, how can I use this great knowledge from these phenomenal people that are teaching me the nuggets? There's some great ways to do this. You can buy some audiobooks. You can use Audible. I also am a member of a library. It's actually a gift from James Short to me. And there's these wonderful summaries that come into my inbox every single week. And I'll pick one or two of them to go through. And I've got a little bit of a plan that I'll share with you now. I use the 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 plan. The 1 to 2 or the 2 to 3 plan. Now what's that? That means that I'm going to have one personal development book. Yep, one book that I'll listen to regularly. And then I will then do that in a week. And then I'll go into 2 books for, let's say, professional development. So 1 week will be personal development, and I'll do 2 books over the month. Yep. 1 book, personal development, 2 books, professional development. Or you could do 2 professional development and 3 personal development. And then the following month, you change it around. What strategy would you like to use? I think the 1 and 2 works well for me. The 1 and 2 means I'll do 1 professional development and 2 personal developments in that month. I used to do 2 and 3, but it got a little bit overwhelming. I wasn't getting the repetition done. So I now do the 1 personal development and 2 professional for that month, and then change it around. Then 2 will be professional development and 1 personal development. So it goes 1 professional, 2 personal, then 2 personal, 1 professional. Just alternate the months. That's just the 1 and 2 plan. What plan would you like to use? Are you a 2 or 3 person? Maybe you're a fast reader. Maybe you absorb stuff faster than me. Well, recommendation is that when you read a book, you read it in its entirety or listen to it, then listen to it again, write a plan. And what are you going to implement? Now, what I'd love you to do is, after you've listened to this, I'd love you to share with me 1 personal development book that you just think is fantastic, and maybe 1 professional one. The one that I'll share with you right now is Think and Grow Rich by Pam Grout. Great, personal development book. I just loved it. I've listened to it numerous times, and I got the whole book. It was that good. And also E Squared was another fantastic personal development book for me. And let's say a professional one. Well, you can't go back. You can't go away from The Richest Man in Babylon. Oh, yes, that's a professional development and personal development book. It's been responsible for creating so many millionaires around the world. And another great one was The Barefoot Investor. Terrific book for professional development. Now let me draw in another one. The E-Myth Revisited. Oh my goodness, I went back to that around about 3 months ago, and I'd listened to it or read it many years ago. And guess what? It was like a brand new book to me. So I'd love you to share some of your books. Write it down, and maybe I can put it into my library too. Okay, gang, hope you put some things into practice. We'll catch up with you soon. Bye for now.